This is not like walking in the Garden of Eden. This is walking in the crushing reality of nature, which is what we all live in, although we keep forgetting it because we're always in our little boxes of houses and our boxes of cars. My name's Jeannie Drevas, and I'm a site-specific installation artist. And this is what is called a site-specific installation. This was built here in the 2nd Street Gallery over the course of 3 days. Of course, all the bamboo had to be collected by me and my friends up in Rappahannock County, where I live, which is about an hour and 20 minutes north of Charlottesville. And we spent days and days cutting bamboo, and there's about 1,200 culms. A piece of bamboo or stick of bamboo is called a culm. And we trucked it down here and have created the grove here in the gallery. I have originally worked with pine needles that I stuff into sewn up bird netting, and it makes very rounded organic shapes. And about a year ago I had done an installation in a very small room with a very large ovoid shaped pine needle piece that had its amazing presence, because the edge of it was about a foot from the wall, so you had to sort of walk around, but you could lay under it because there was space underneath. And I felt this was really speaky to me. It had a lot of answers, and I so much wanted to enter into it, could not. So I really wanted to create something that people can move through. It's tactile, it's mobile, makes this amazing gonging sound as you go through. And that was my inspiration. This space is a great big white box, and I really like to make presents. And I often work outside. I usually don't work inside, and working outside, you've really got to make a presence, because the rest of nature can just swallow up anything you make. And so I really like to make a big presence, and I often work with just one material. I like that monolithic feel, and I like working with the simplicity. It's hard enough. I mean, the labor is amazingly physical and hard, and so I really like working with just one material at a time. Like I said, I live up in Rappahannock County, and it's a very sparsely populated county. I live in my handmade house that I started building 35 years ago. One of those back to the land hippies, and I cleared the land. I picked up a chainsaw one day and started cutting the small trees, and moved on. And my house is very organic, and I used, there are trees that I cut down that go up through the house that is supporting the house, and a lot of recycled materials. And that is another thing. I love to work with materials I hand gather that are inexpensive, that I have lived around and want to get to know better. And bamboo is fantastic, fantastic material, as I think everybody knows. It's used all over the world for anything from scaffolding to houses to teacups to tea whisks to floor. Now people make floors, and there's scarves that are made and sheets that are made out of bamboo. This installation is very contained, very square. All my other work has been very voluptuous and curved, and I was mostly confined by but also there are eye bolts that are existing in the ceiling that kind of told me the shape that this was going to be, because this is about 200 tons of bamboo hanging here. And we meaning my lovely husband Carl, who designed the supporting framework up above, which is 4x4s and lots of bolts and nuts and cables and turnbuckles, so that all of this can hang, so that you can move through it. I also do a lot of studio work up at my studio in my house. Rappahannock, and I work with a lot of bark these days, which I hand gather. I take off of a newly cut down tree, and mostly white pine and tulip poplar, and it's a big struggle, my will with the bark's will, and I'm still learning about what I can do and can't do with it. And I also work with use broom corn and eggshell mosaic, any material that I feel is archival enough to withstand some kind of test of time. Unlike my installations that are all ephemeral, the pine needle pieces last about a year outside. And so I just invite people to come up. There's a wonderful artist tour on the first weekend in November every year. You can visit a lot of studios in Rappahannock County. So I hope to see some of you there. Thanks.